you go.
So this is the October 10th, 2023 regular meeting of the Bethany Board of Finance. We had a technical issue and have dealt with the approval of the minutes, and now we're back online. Let's see. So we have the finance director's report. Is that Hel? Who is Elizabeth, please? Elizabeth,
Muted.
oh, is muted. Can you?
Liz, can you,
Is
she
that
should be
Liz?
able to hear us. Liz, can you unmute yourself and identify yourself?
Yep,
Okay.
Hi, Liz.
Elizabeth
you.
Appel. Got it.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, finance director's report. So
Right. The numbers are attached. There's two sets of numbers. Set number one is the departmental expense reports. And then set number two shows the year-to-date P&L. Item to note on, the only item that I want to bring up as far as to call attention to is the highway department. I have received a memo from our public works manager, Don Shea, stating that we had an extremely summer and weekly downpours. We experiencing drainage, erosion, and washouts. At the moment, we are okay financially. However, if the problems persist, Public Works will run out of money just doing the necessary repair and patches to get us through to next year. Most of the roads in question where this is happening are scheduled for repavement next year. We did look at one road in particular, being Oak Ridge, now as opposed to waiting, but the cost on it is prohibitive to doing it now. It would cost about $150,000, and there is only $160,000 left in the budget. So we're going to do the patch and repair. But I just want to make everyone aware of the fact that Public Works is doing their best to stay on target and on budget, but other persists, that could be a problem. I have nothing else on those unless someone has a question of me on them.
So this net income is really a surplus, right, to date? Yes,
Yes,
okay.
yeah, that's the current fiscal year. I did not print anything for last fiscal year. I just printed 24. 23 is under audit, and I do not have all the adjusting entries done yet, so I don't know where 23 is going to fall. But that is just where we stand right now with 24.
All right, so we're currently okay. Everything's
Yeah. Yes, I do not see any flags or cause for concern at the moment, except for what I brought up with Public Works.
transfers.
There are no transfers at the moment.
Okay. The informational items, is there anything? They all seem to say. Except for, well, what about recycling? Can you just give us a 1 minute, Tracy, and where we are?
The recycling?
Yeah.
Nothing
Nothing happening yet.
Don and I are working on pulling together all the costs for bulky waste recycling, curb curbside pickup, and we will have a formal presentation next month. But one thing that I'm going to go back up to B1, the 401 contribution for part-time people. We will have to make a decision because the new ERISA laws do not allow us to exclude part-time individuals on a 401 contribution anymore. We have not in the past, but we cannot going forward. So we will have to decide on what we feel is an appropriate level to fund that. Especially come, budget season, we'll have to factor that in. But we will have to fund the part-time individuals with this year's budget, and I know we have not budgeted for that.
Can I have a question on that? Is it permanent part-time or not like the seasonal, right?
It would be permanent part-time.
Not the
Because
contracts
it's five, they have to have worked, it's 1,000 hours a year. Next year, it changes to 500 hours over the last 3 years.
Wow.
500 hours a year.
So
for the
that
last
pretty
could
much
could
everything
easily
should
pick
be,
up the
yeah.
seasonal.
But the town, when we rewrote the retirement plan, we were allowed to exclude some segment employees. And we purposely excluded park and rec counselors so that we would not have to,
Fund the retirement.
fund a retirement pension
They come and go so quickly,
for, someone that's been,
Some of them.
so
are
we
consistent,
chose
but-
to do that, and it's completely legal.
Right.
And we also created the documents without a set percentage that we were going to be contributing to said plans. That way, it gives us the discretion
Mhm.
on an annual basis if we choose to set what the number is.
We can change it.
Yes,
That's
the way the new plan is, we can change it. Not that I'm advocating we do, but it is something that can be changed.
Okay, do you have any idea from talking to the people you're working with and what level they're funding part-time employees in other towns? Or can we find out?
I can find that out. I would not recommend funding the part-time employees at the same rate that we are funding full-time employees. I do not recommend that.
And at what point, when do we have to make a decision?
We will not need to make a decision until June 30th of 2024.
But it'll be backdated
It'll be backdated for funding
out of the 24 budget,
out of the 24 budget,
not the 25 budget.
not the 25 budget.
Okay, that's an interesting way to do it.
We actually have, I'm pretty sure we have 180 days to fund it after the end of the fiscal year. I'm not advocating, but you do not have to fund it immediately. There is a leeway. There is a grace period for when you have to have it funded.
Well, when they change rules like this, I can see why. When it's retroactive, I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
Especially with the 500 for the last 3.
Yep.
In 3 years, that's.
Yeah.
That's a whole different situation than,
Mhm.
that isn't even really permanent part-time.
500.
Yeah, that's.
How many do we have? Like 3? 2 or 3 part-time employees?
Well, there are 2 in here, 2 here.
Well, we
Yeah.
have,
no.
Robin's assistant,
Yeah.
and we have
George.
George, Chris,
Chris,
the two building.
officials.
Officials.
Mhm.
Yeah, do they get 5? Yeah, they get $500. That's not much. It's only 10 hours a week. Huh?
Mhm.
Actually, Steve Sousa to them.
correct.
And Mike.
And Catsmark.
Catsmark.
Mhm.
Like, that's what, yeah,
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
So if you can get us some benchmarks,
Mhm.
what's happening
Uh-huh.
other places, that would be helpful. And maybe we can, maybe by December, we could get that done so that
Mhm.
people know. And because by then we'll be starting on budgeting it.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, it's gonna start again already.
Mhm.
See how time
Okay.
flies when you have anything?
Grants. Go for it.
Okay, item 5A1 is the complete application that was submitted for the steep project.
This is the new one.
This is for the new steep.
It is in the packet.
Yes,
It is
the
in the packet.
it's for the 23 steep grant funding. It was to establish one space that provides a safe emergency shelter, resting space for public works, fosters community engagement. We were looking, we have been awarded, the grant has been approved by the state. So we are looking at a reimbursement from the state of 500,000. A contribution from the town of $103,715.90. We would be paving the recycling area and putting a second floor on the Public Works office area of the Public Works facility. I have some pictures that I'm gonna pass around, which show you what the conditions are at the moment.
Are they two different packages?
No, it's one set
It's
of
all-
pictures.
It's all one?
It's all one.
Okay. Okay, so if,
What we know is that to pave the recycling area, the parking, to repave what is paved right now, which is falling apart, which has some major issues with it, it will cost the town $250,000. We have a price from Tilcon to do that. That will be added to the capital budget plan for 25. For sure. What we do, I mean, so accepting the steep grant will pave that area and put a second floor on the Public Works facility, which gives the guys a reasonable resting space, because right now they are using the pull down attic. They're going up into the attic eaves right now.
Cots with cheesecloth.
You'll see it in the pictures.
Yeah, there's
You can
pictures,
see it in
there's
the
pictures of it.
um,
So the town portion is less than half the price to pay that parking area. And we get the whole improvement to that building. For us through the steep grant.
Which we were totally floored that we got it.
Yeah, we were surprised that we were awarded the grant 2 years in a row. Because that's not something we expected when we submitted the request.
So this would need to go to a town meeting for approval as a capital project, and also in terms of how to fund the match portion of it. I thought the match was 20% of the project.
This is what the state.
Well, this is why we put it, this is why we turned it in. And
it was in the release that the governor's office said. Because
They were going to give us,
our match was 103,715.90, so.
so that's less than 20% of the project.
Says the match is actually less than we thought it was gonna be.
right,
Yeah.
Yes.
right.
When they came back with their number, it was less, we figured, I forget what we figured, 120, 125.
Yeah,
something
that's
like
what,
that.
and I
Yeah.
was wondering is how does that
Yeah.
happen? Okay. So, questions?
I have a question. Where did this project all take place? Because this is like brand new to me. I was here for July.
Mhm.
There was no August meeting.
We applied, but it was
And,
on
but I've
August
never
1st.
even heard of this discussed before, raising the roof and putting on a second floor. And when did this all happen?
We had spoken a couple of years back
Couple years ago.
about that. And the architect who is working for Scrog, I believe, it's no cost to us, came over there, looked at the building and said, oh yeah, you gotta go up this, that, and the other thing. But we had no money, so we just threw it in the drawer. So was it August or September, we had to have this steep thing in?
It was August because you
They
had
only
already
give you the
put
2
it in.
weeks
They give you 2
turnaround
weeks.
time, yeah, they
Yeah.
give you the
The
2 week
release comes
turnaround time.
out, steep grants are available, you have 2 weeks to turn in a shovel-ready project. So, not too many shovel-ready projects are ready to go in 2 weeks, so we had this in the drawer, it's a much needed facility. The pavement alone will make money on the pavement. And as you can see from the pictures, the paving it's long overdue.
But where does this 603,000, where did all that, who drew
The
up these
maximum of the
numbers?
grant
The
is
arch-
500,000.
Yeah, I
The
understand
architect
that.
came up with a price of 350.
But what architect was used?
Joe, what's the name of the architect?
I mean, this is really, I've never even heard of
It's
it.
Joe Magani, I'm not sure what the name of this company is, but he's the architect that did the annex, and he's doing the windows, he's doing the gym hall stuff. So. And then we had price from Tilcon to do the recycling center,
Mhm.
so we figured it's a good combination to get them both done in one shot.
They didn't come out of nowhere, but they were a surprise because we didn't have a meeting in August and they applied for it while we were not. It was on our agenda last month and
The Board of Finance
finance
agenda.
and.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and
Read
we
that today.
discussed it, but we wanted more information before
Mhm.
we approved it and sent it forward.
Any questions on the pictures? That you guys looked at?
Wow, they're pretty.
Well, you didn't get to, where the guys actually, because I mean, you get a big snowstorm, the guys are there 24, 36 hours sometimes. And, you know, one guy sleeps on the kitchen table, one guy sleeps on, it's naps, doesn't sleep, rests. Big difference.
Yeah.
And that's the bathroom,
And
and that's me
you.
in the mirror. but- So
Yeah.
right now, yeah,
It was a selfie,
eight
sort
guys
of.
sharing one toilet, one shower, and one urinal. There's there's the entrance to the sleeping quarters, resting area. And there's their lounge.
So if we decide to send this forward to the town meeting, then we have options for where we might find the match funds. There's certainly enough in last year's surplus that would be in the general fund. Which would seem,
But it wasn't budgeted.
no, it wasn't budgeted because the opportunity was not there to get 80% of it paid for.
I mean, if
85%.
Steve said, okay, you know, you got 8 months or 10 months or whatever, they say, oh, there's money available, 2 weeks. I mean, what are you gonna do? That's why last time we did the roads and else, because that's a pretty easy to get a price on roads and our.
So you're just looking to push it out to the town to vote on whether to go along with this project or not,
Mhm.
go with the money.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And how we would come up with our 103,715.
Will it go to any other people to make the price come down somewhat?
Well, it hasn't gone out to bid yet, this is
Right.
just the architects
Just
and,
as like,
and they aim high.
oh, I see.
The Tilcon price is the Tilcon price.
Yeah,
It's
that,
50 for
I
the
get,
parking lot.
yeah.
Well, that was their price in August. Now, next August, whatever they pay,
Mm-hmm.
it might be a couple dollars more. It's not gonna be a lot more money. Because actually, it might not even be a couple dollars more because they're in the third, begin a new state contract.
Yeah,
So that's like a 3-year contract. As far as the numbers, you know, until we go out to bid.
so it could come less,
It will come less.
come a lot less than this.
I don't know about a lot less, but it'll come less.
And when-
Because they do shoot high.
Yeah, when would you, if the town says go for it, that's when you go out to bid?
Once we get our contract, and that could take. How
So
long
the
did it take
town
last
has to
time? It was
approve
almost a year to get the contract for the last.
Yes, it took us 8 months to get the contract for the last
Right.
grant.
Because till we have the contract in hand, there's no reason to go out to bid, because all of a sudden something happens and then we waste everybody's time. So this actually won't be until,
Spring,
it's almost next fiscal year.
spring, right?
Spring, at least, well, probably to make town meeting, we can almost do that, but I would do it before that, because,
We,
We have other items to.
yeah,
put
yeah,
in.
we do it other way, it's all town meeting anyway.
and you could.
But if it takes them 8 months, you're looking at June,
Mhm.
May, June. You know, once we get closer, we can go out to bid, once we get, you know, promises of a contract, then.
They give you 2 weeks to apply for it, and then they take about a year to give you the money, so it's.
Yeah.
Yeah, they want shovel ready,
Mhm.
which sounds like, here's a check, oh, then a year later, they give you the money.
Well, it's a reimbursement grant, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
It
so,
is, but you cannot spend a dime before you have a signed contract.
and we can't do that until a town meeting approves it.
Right.
What do you mean, it's gotta be a reimbursement, the town doesn't have to come up with all this.
Yes, in terms of cash flow.
Yes,
Yes.
in terms of cash flow,
But
yes.
they don't wait till the end of the project, is it quarterly or
It's
monthly?
it's quarterly submissions for reimbursement.
That's all, most of the grants, the Cabrera grants are the only ones that I've been involved in, that are actually upfront on this.
If the building's in that bad a condition up there, why did you wait so long to try to get it fixed? I mean, it
I've only
really
been on the
looks
job
pretty
for a
bad.
year. The downstairs is in good shape,
Yeah,
the actual kitchen area and bath, you know, the bathroom's in
Yeah.
decent shape, the office is in decent shape. Up there, yeah, it's, what's an attic? I mean, the guys need, you know, the whole area is the size of this room. Between
that's the
kitchen
area you
and,
can see when you're standing by the fire trucks, looking up in that. Am I
No, it's in
talking-
Public Works,
Oh, the
not,
public works.
Public-
building.
not-
Public
I'm
Works
trying to
building.
visualize this room where that you're showing.
Public
pictures
Works
of,
building,
but
you have
obviously
the
never been in,
5 or
so-
6 garages.
Yeah.
And then to the left of that, and you're coming into recycling,
Mhm.
is the small little, there's a window and 2 windows and a door on the one side,
Yeah,
4 windows on, so I say it's smaller than this room.
yeah.
It's not a very big building,
Mm.
so that's why we need to go up. We can't go out, because it's actually cheaper to go up,
Mhm.
but there's no room to go out, because we take
Yeah.
away parking, we take away part of the recycling driveway,
Yeah.
and things like that.
Okay.
And then you're adding, they would be adding an exterior entry, which is
Mhm.
code, because. you know,
Yeah.
You can have guys running down a hatch if something happens. And then again, you know, there's a generator, so warming area for townspeople and all that. So it'll be a much needed facility.
do we want to approve this and forward it to the Board of Selectmen to put it on the agenda for the next town meeting
Mhm.
so that they can continue to pursue the grant?
Yep. So do
And
we have to tell them where the money's coming from? I mean, if we're not gonna get a contract for 8 months, why can't we just see if the town
I
will,
think,
will accept the contract and then budget it?
But I
well,
think you
I
need to
think
bring
we have
that
to come up with
approval
the
too.
money. We have to
Okay.
come up with the money first, our part.
In order to get the
That's part of
contract.
the, it's sort of part of the package deal.
Well, we don't have to give them the money, it's just
No,
somewhere it's
but
coming.
no, we need a
You
decision
just have to identify where it's coming.
where it's gonna come
Right.
from.
Okay.
And again, we won't have to spend it until the project actually starts.
But
Yeah.
this would be in the general fund because it wasn't budgeted as a capital project. But that's where the surplus is, so.
Because if we specify the general fund, work on this can commence prior to the approval of next year's budget, should there be a town meeting before we approve the budget in May.
But the project still has to be approved.
If the project is approved
Yeah.
and we set where the funding comes from, work can commence before we pass next year's budget. If we choose to make it an appropriation for 25, then work cannot commence before July 1st of next year.
And we need the obligated contract.
Right. So,
This grant will not be administered by DOT. It's being administered through community economic development. It's being managed by a different department at the state. So I'm hoping that they have their act together better than the DOT does at the moment. Given that, our check in hand by June 30th for the trip grant still doesn't have an approval.
Any idea when that's happening?
No idea.
Right now, I think 2024.
well, we need to deal with this before we
Yes,
talk
So,
about
yeah,
that.
so that's.
All right, so need a motion to approve the public works building expansion and paving project that's being submitted for a steep grant. And the amount, is it 603,715 total? Okay, 103,715 to come from the
90
general
cents.
fund.
And 90 cents.
And what?
And 90 cents. That's the matching, just to be. the record.
Okay, and that is 715 and 90 cents. Okay, so do I have a motion?
So move.
One second.
Okay. Further discussion? I have a feeling there will be questions about this when it finally gets to town meeting, but you do have your pictures. And your pictures are telling a story, especially about that upper level, so.
Yeah.
All right, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so it is 4-0. Okay, so
They live in Woodbridge, out of Seymour.
do we need quickies on the others? Is anything happening?
The annex is almost complete.
Yeah.
We're open by the end of next week.
So the Delora one, what?
I actually spoke to Rosa DeLauro earlier this evening, and I told her we've been having issues with trying to get a number finalized because it expired back in 2017, and poor Jen has spoken to a number of people on an average of 45 minutes a call and has to basically start from square one every time she talks to somebody. She can't get the same person twice, and I told Rosa, please, can you help us somehow to resolve this issue? We can't move in this grant until this issue is resolved. So she was going to talk to her guy, Lou, because I said Lou has some of the background. So hopefully she can get that rolling so we can finally see that money.
Because they have awarded the contract.
Yep.
Yes,
The
almost.
grant.
Go.
Yes.
January, we're supposed to do one last January.
Yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully she'll be able to help us move forward with that part of it. So,
Okay, on the ARPA one,
Mhm.
just as for information, not everyone was at the town meeting. All of those nonprofit requests were approved. Okay, by the town meeting,
So for the Historical Society,
mhm.
both of them,
both of them.
Mhm.
Okay.
actually, all three of them.
Oh, what
All
about
three of them.
and the land?
The
Yeah,
land,
no,
yes.
yeah.
No, not even, no question about the land.
Okay.
Um,
All right.
So, yep. And I think we made it clear that we were, the well is dry. This is the end of our. I mean, there's a small amount left, but it will be probably be eaten up by small things.
Yes.
Okay, Chairman's report. Amity has not met yet because of the holiday. They'll meet next week, so I have no update for you. Correspondence, that is the very nice note that we got from Linda Worcester. I think everybody has a copy of it, thanking us for making it possible for them to do the renovations they need to do. That was very nice. Usually people don't. Well, they don't. And
That's true.
okay.
Quickly, obviously, we just mentioned that the annex is just about done. I don't know how light it was still out when you came in, but we have started to work on the front of town hall. So, it started yesterday, right? They are great to work with. They are workaholics. They're here on weekends. So, that's how we were able to get this annex project done so quickly. They started the Labor Day or the day after Labor Day and are about to finish in about 5 weeks' time. So good guys to work with. Russell Road, we are still waiting for them to clear title at their end. So as soon as that's done, we are ready to close on that. The proposed solar farm project, we have recommended a parcel of property on Route 69 next to, you know where Henry's Garage on the corner of 42 and 69, and then there's actually a parcel of property, and there what was the Canine Academy. Well, that's 7.5 acres. Is privately owned, but we have connected the owner of that property with Tritech, the solar group, and they seem very amiable to this property.
Instead of,
Instead of
Isn't
Mr. Fisk's property, no. No.
did they purchase the other property or they just have?
No,
I think they were just planning to lease. I think there was just a lease that was
Oh.
going to be for that property over there.
Okay.
So right now, it's a conversation between the owner and Tritech as to whether it would be a full purchase of the
Mhm.
property
Okay.
or if they want to get into a lease with them.
Mhm.
So that's in conversation right now, but we are optimistic, I'm keeping my fingers crossed, that it will be the relocation of that project over there. There's only water company property across
Watershed,
the
yeah.
street, so that won't be developed. And there's nothing else really up behind that.
Hmm.
So, and they were only looking at using about approximately 5 acres of that property on Bethmore.
Oh.
So this 7.5 would, I think the only question might be some easements, setbacks.
Mhm.
So we will work out the logistics. And like I say, fingers crossed, a lot of praying that it relocates over
Well,
there.
actually-
It's commercially zoned over there too, by the way. So it's not,
And they didn't withdraw, but they actually told the siting council, we'll be back in July, so.
yes, they put a stay on
They put a
the
stay on
pending
their
petition,
plan, so
yeah.
It looks good. It
Yeah.
looks like if they can work out a deal, they want to purchase it. If they can't purchase it, they'll lease it. It looks like.
And they said they would rather work with the local boards and commissions on any, like I said, setbacks and that kind of thing, instead of having to go through the siting council. It's my understanding, so we keep it local and take care of it that way. So time will tell, like I say.
There's a lot of
Um,
companies looking to do that. I just got contacted, one wanted to lease the whole farm. There's more out there, so.
Yeah, I'm
I
sure
think
that-
this is
I'm
gonna be
sure.
an ongoing
Oh, yeah,
issue. They're hunting for land.
yeah.
We were told by people in the business that if this one is built, and then one more is built, then Bethany's pretty much done. Even one more small one. So we're actually looking for a piece of property that we can either own or whatever, that we can offer this to a company. And then if we find a piece of property, they decide to do it, then we're pretty much, we fulfilled our obligation to them.
The water company has
Interesting.
several hundreds, thousands acres in town here. So there's potential that we could just, work with them to
Hopefully,
get a
right
piece,
across
but
the street.
right now, no one else has approached us, so right now, I'm just working on that one. That's what we're working on right now.
I told this
So-
one no, so don't worry about it.
We need to have hay rides. We can't, you know, we're going through solar panels. So, the, deep, we are just waiting on, they said they were gonna do it ASAP, and that was
What was?
a week ago, the
Simpson-
survey, the
the
final,
Simpson property.
final
Oh,
survey that John Paul had submitted. So, we were told they were gonna be working on it ASAP. Their definition of ASAP and our definition of ASAP, clearly two different things, but hopefully it'll be soon. And I think, I mean, other than ongoing projects here, you know,
It's very interesting that DEEP, unlike all other land use agencies, does not have mandatory action dates.
Yeah.
Because if something goes to wetlands or goes to zoning, you have X amount of time and you have to act so that you're not tying them up. But once something gets referred to DEEP, it just, it can,
it gets lost somewhere.
it can sit there for a very long time. Yeah. It's kind of crazy.
So, and
Okay.
that's pretty much it, so.
We're done.
Can I just ask one question? I honestly, my fault, I wasn't paying attention to the Delora contract. Can you just talk about that for one more time?
Sure.
I was doing something here.
No, that's fine. There is no contract at the moment. They will not issue a contract until we have an issue resolved with our unique identifying number.
And the contract is on for what?
That's the HUD, it's through HUD. That is the contract for the $1 million to
Okay.
finish
Oh,
the
that's right, yeah,
renovations of
okay,
this building.
Okay.
It's the big one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Put
Okay.
your back on the
Okay.
controls.
I guess we are back. I guess are we moving on to 8 now, Sharon?
Yes, we are moving on to 8.
Well, the Board of Ed reconciliation will always be a work in progress because there's a difference of opinions of what is necessary versus what is required, and Sharon has tried to help with it, and it is a massive
Mess.
There, because ever since ARPA funds were created, the number of grants that the Board of Ed receives has more than quadrupled. And you have to keep each one separate. But I know what comes in, but I don't have access to what goes out. I have to take their word for it, that they have dispersed the funds properly and accordingly. So I know I give them all the money, but unless I'm going to review all of their expenses on a weekly or monthly basis, right down to every check that's written out, it's almost impossible to do a full reconciliation. So we're doing the best that we can. We're making sure that all the money goes to them in the proper bank accounts. And we're still trying to figure out the back end of it, the balance of it.
I was on it until my husband went in the hospital
Mhm.
and was there for 2 weeks, so. I know what has to get done, but I have not finished the task.
Yeah. The end of period reporting. I guess some of that is how much more do you want from me from what I'm giving you right now? The departments are getting all their information routinely and monthly. I have not had a department head complain in the last 3 months about not getting something that they needed. So just, food for thought. I mean, what else do you want to see in the monthly packet that I give you other than where the expenses are? Where is where are we on target, on track as far as the overall budget for the year? And we are very good at reconciling the bank accounts on a monthly basis, so we always have a good handle on how much money there is in all the accounts. So just feed me information if you want more than what you are getting, and we will do our best in our office to get you what you're looking for.
I think that we're getting the detail that we had been hoping to get. Is it possible that, I know this is picking nits, but that we could have the year, which fiscal year it is?
It doesn't print on the report. I will have to manually add it. I can manually add it. It doesn't print on the report.
The things, as we, in a couple of months, well, starting next month after, we're going to be going back and forth between fiscal 24 and fiscal 25 reports, that's all.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
I just want to
Okay.
make sure that
All right.
I'm looking at the right one. I know it's small. You're giving us a lot of information. What I like that you did this month was give us here's the problem area. It's happening in Public Works. This is why. I like having the heads up.
It doesn't make sense to come to you in May and say we're $60,000 over budget. Let you know now that they're doing their best to stay on target, but they only have X number of dollars left.
Just 2 inches right every weekend, can't continue.
Yeah, the rain.
2 more inches this weekend. And the water's
Is
gonna.
that's why you did park on the field, right?
Yes.
Because it was mess out
We
there.
would just, we
It
would
was
spend
smart.
20,000 trying to
I'm
fix the
just
field.
fixing. I know.
It was actually
So we
supposed to be a
did-
real
we
cool
couldn't
car
get
show this
over it.
weekend, but that's canceled. So.
Brant and I were outside all day that day and it was a
Oh,
mess.
Sunday, yeah, oh, yeah.
Oh my God, the traffic was incredible.
Liz,
I mean, we
you
don't
are
care.
correct, it was misnumbered. There was no item 4, it went from 3 to 5. Thank you for the heads up on that. She just sent something in the chat that said, was there a number 4, but good catch, it went from
Thank
3 to 5, sorry about that.
3 sets of eyes and we missed it.
I know.
Now,
Thank you.
this last one,
Mhm.
can we have a very quick rundown on what's
What-
happening here?
What's in the subsidy fee structure payment
Yes,
schedules?
because we talk about it when we are looking at budgets, and you're starting to address that, right? Trying to organize.
Correct. I mean. It goes over multiple departments, a portion of this. The question becomes like when we're going to look at the garbage situation with the MSW, they're bulky and the recyclables. Are we going to look at the town paying for curbside pickup for all of it? Or are we going to look at going to a per throw? So that's where we get into what's the fee structure, what's the subsidy. Then we have Park and Rec on how much, I mean, are the programs supposed to be self-sustaining? What is it, what kind of what is a reasonable payment schedule for the parents? Should it be a monthly basis for the, for the rec room? Should it be paid, for the whole, how does that get paid? They're just things that we have to think about and be aware of when we're looking at the revenue budgets and the expense budgets going into next fiscal year. Fee structure also comes into what is an appropriate charge for renting facilities if someone wants to use a facility. I know the Board of Selectmen recently raised the rates for the pavilion and the lodge. Well, now we have a finished room at Center Station that can be rented out for small gatherings. So what is we just want to make sure that everything is in proportion to what are we getting versus what is it costing us to maintain those facilities, to pay for janitorial staff, overhead, all that. It's just things that we need to keep in mind going forward. What is what is the right number? And there may never be a right number, but we just have to look at what is our best, what do we feel is reasonable?
You may have to adjust it all the time anyway. because
Correct.
of Pricing,
Correct.
prices of everything are always changing.
Because I know that there's some people that are, that think we should be at a pay per throw as far as the trash is concerned. Where you should be purchasing your garbage bags from the town and you get to use X number. That's what you use.
And I know, that have,
And
we
it
did
goes,
not sign that contract for that pilot program, and I am
we're
so grateful that we
right.
did not, because Guilford had an issue where they signed up for it, but the hauler was not bringing the garbage where he was supposed to be bringing it. So, and then there's another town where they're not using the bags the right way. So we really have to weigh what makes the most sense, and we're Bethany, so how many haulers, like Woodbridge, you have to pay for your own haulers to come, and they have a series of haulers. But who's gonna wanna trek all the way up to Bethany? We're lucky we have this company that said, they take one day and a quarter of the town each day. And they'll come back if something gets missed. They're really good to work with, so Bethany is kind of unique in some regards, that how many haulers are gonna wanna come up to Bethany if they're only coming up for 5 households or 20 households over here, or you know what I mean? So there's things to weigh as the pros and cons of that.
But we keep it on there so that we don't lose sight of the fact that we need to factor all 3 of those things into all the financial decisions that we make across the board, and how it apply that to each department. Because, Robin has the same thing with the seniors. The town is partially subsidizing the senior lunches, because, she goes above and beyond what the cost is. She tries to break even on it, but it doesn't always happen. So there's a portion of the subsidy in almost every department that still has a fee for things involved. The question is, what is it? Where are we comfortable? Just to keep in mind going into budget season, because as Sharon said earlier, it's almost upon us.
Yes, it is.
Scary.
It is.
All right, so I had promised that we would try to be out of here in an hour. Is that possible? Are we- Anybody? Motion?
You adjourn.
To adjourn, second.
Thank you, everybody. It is, it must be 8:07. No, it isn't. It's 8:00.